Imagine carrying someone else's burden, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and with all your heart. Now imagine doing it in a world where you have no say, no control, where your role is defined by what others need from you. These were the women of the Bible, the ones who carried not just children but entire destinies. They were surrogates in more ways than one, chosen to step into difficult roles that no one else could. But their stories, they weren't just about sacrifice. They were about faith, hope, and the invisible threads of divine purpose weaving through their lives. Let's delve into their story. First, meet Sarah. She's not just any woman, she's the wife of Abraham, a man whom God promised would be the father of nations. But Sarah? She couldn't have children. Year after year, she watched as time slipped away, and the desire to bear Abraham's child grew into an aching void. She was the woman destined to be the matriarch, yet she had no heir of her own. Now imagine the pain of being in her shoes, waiting and waiting, with no child to call her own. And finally, in her desperation, Sarah makes a decision that will change everything. She tells Abraham, "Take my maidservant Hagar, have a child with her." It's not just a suggestion, it's a way for Sarah to fulfill God's promise, even though it's not happening on her terms. Hagar, though not part of this original plan, becomes the woman who carries Abraham's child. She gives birth to a son, Ishmael. But what happens next? Instead of gratitude, instead of peace, all that follows is a storm of jealousy. Sarah, seeing Hagar's son, begins to resent her. The situation escalates, and soon Hagar finds herself cast out alone in the wilderness with nothing but a child and the weight of betrayal. Just when all seems lost, God speaks to Hagar. He sees her. He promises her that her son will be the father of a great nation too. It's in this moment that Hagar's story shifts from tragedy to hope. She was never invisible, even when the world tried to make her feel that way. Now let's move forward. Meet Rachel and Leah, two sisters, one man, Jacob. Talk about drama, this family is in constant tension. Rachel loved Jacob, and Jacob's heart belonged to Rachel, but Leah was the one who bore him children. In a moment of desperation, Rachel does what Sarah did before her. She says to Jacob, "Take Bilhah, my maidservant, let her bear children for me." And just like that, Bilhah steps into the role of surrogate. She gives birth to Dan and Naphtali, but Rachel's joy is bittersweet. Yes, she has children, but they are not her own by flesh. They are someone else's. And the competition? It only gets worse. But wait, Leah isn't out of the picture yet. She too wants Jacob's love. She's already had children, but it's not enough. So Leah does what Rachel did. She gives her own maidservant Zilpah to Jacob. Zilpah bears two sons, Gad and Asher. The rivalry becomes a full-on race for Jacob's affection, with each woman using her maidservant as a pawn in a game that's bigger than all of them. Now let's step back for a moment. Sarah's story doesn't end in bitterness. In time, God remembers her. He opens her womb and she bears Isaac, the promised child. And this is where the plan starts to make sense. Hagar's son Ishmael is promised a great future too. God had never forgotten him. And for Rachel? After all the turmoil, after all the years of waiting, she finally has a son of her own, Joseph. The pain of infertility and rivalry was worth it in the end, but the road wasn't easy. The story of these women, though, is about more than just having children. It's about the faith it took to trust God's timing, even when things didn't make sense. It's about the sacrifice they made not just for the children they bore, but for the future they were shaping. These women, Sarah, Hagar, Rachel, Leah, Bilhah, and Zilpah, they were more than just surrogates. They were the unsung heroes in a story much bigger than themselves. They gave of themselves, sacrificing so much, all to be part of something greater. Their journeys were filled with pain, jealousy, hope, and divine purpose. And through it all, they were part of God's plan, a plan that stretched beyond their understanding and reached into the future. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting Bible stories every week.